Hello everyone, this is Story Minded, and today I'm going to do another writer's tag because they're really fun and I really enjoyed doing the last one. And this one is called
The Writer Life Tag.
I found this one on Shaylin Writes on her YouTube channel, and I still need to tag her. I think on the last writer's tag video I did, I haven't had a chance to do that yet, and I think she got like that original tag. I think she got that one from the Mime Writer, so I'll have to find her channel and tag her as well. For this tag I tag anyone who's interested in doing the tag.
Okay, first question. Write fuel. What do you eat or drink while writing?
What do I eat or drink when I'm writing? Personally, I don't really have a preferred snack or drink when I write. Sometimes when I'm in the writing zone, I'll literally starve and dehydrate myself because I won't eat or drink. But in the past, sometimes, depending on what time I've been writing, chocolate is quite a nice snack to have. And one time when I was writing, I had my lunch with me. I had like a stool by my bed and brought my lunch up here. So, and well, any hot drink really. Although, so tea, coffee, hot chocolate, any sort of hot drink. But I don't really have like a go-to bit of food or drink for fuel.
Write sounds. What do you listen to while writing?
Write sounds. Well, personally, I think, like I mentioned in a previous video before, I can't exactly listen to music when I write. Like, I think I've done it a few times, but personally for me, I think sometimes it's like a bit too much stimulus for me. Like when I'm creating things, I'm using my imagination already. So I think sometimes it's too much stimulus, but when I'm writing stuff, I guess for like coursework, which I'm going to do after this video, I will plug myself into music because it's a different type of writing, but I guess I don't really listen to music when I write, but if I do, I try to find songs that would fit my characters or fit the mood that I'm trying to create. Or that's what I do actually. Sometimes if I'm looking for inspiration, I'll listen to the music beforehand and then I'll type, or I'll have my music in, listen to a bit, pause and write. I did that once for a fan fiction. I used Owl City's Peppermint Winter to write one of my fan fiction stories for Supernatural, and I really enjoyed that. I listened to like segments of Peppermint Winter, pause it, type, pause it, type. It was actually really fun, a really good way. But once again, I don't have like a preferred sound to listen to.
Write advice. Biggest distraction.
The internet. Well, my biggest distraction is probably YouTube and YouTube videos and writing videos. But I like to think that I do have quite a lot of willpower, so if I'm really in the zone and really enjoying writing, I'll just block everything else out. But yeah, YouTube has to be quite a big one, because it's lovely getting inspired by other people who share the same kind of passions as you, so you end up getting addicted to watching them, and once you watch them you're like, yeah, I really want to write, and then you look at the time and you're like, I've wasted all this time watching someone else write when I could have been writing myself. But well, not wasting time, but I guess, procrastination, it's a writer's curse.
Write horror. What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you whilst writing?
One moment. That's my older brother, just wanted to close my door. Write horror. I like to say that nothing bad has ever happened to me when I've been writing, although actually no. The worst thing that's ever happened to me whilst writing was, I actually have two things. The first, technically it wasn't when I was actually writing, it was what happened afterwards. I can't remember how old I was, but I was creating like a children's series. I had an idea for a children's series, all these different books about different relationships regarding animals, like say for example, I think it was a story about a lion cub and a cheetah cub, and in the wild those two predators are enemies. And I was really proud of it. It was going really well in its first draft, and it's probably one of the longest pieces of writing I've ever done. And my laptop, my old laptop that it was on, managed to get a virus, and I at the time didn't have a memory stick, didn't have click-through, and I lost that entire piece of work. We took it to the PC World and tried to get it fixed. Couldn't get fixed, and I lost that piece of writing. I remember I was really upset and actually cried, because it was, you put so much effort into a piece of writing for it to just be like taken away. It was absolutely horrible. So that's probably one of the worst things that's ever happened to me whilst writing. And I guess the other one, it's not really horrible, but it's sometimes when I write really dark pieces, or I think about like really dark themes, because I'm really into emotive writing, sometimes those emotions can be quite overwhelming, even though it's like fictional and it's your imagination. Sometimes you just have to pause and you think, did I really write this? Are these really my thoughts? So it's quite a weird sort of reflective type thing, but it's also really cathartic. So yeah, that one's quite interesting, that question.
Right, Joy. What's the best thing that's ever happened whilst writing, and how do you celebrate small victories?
I don't think I can speak on this. Right, that was right, Joy. Probably whenever a piece of my writing in the past has got published, that's probably one of my biggest writing joys. It's that sense of accomplishment and achievement, and you feel really proud. And celebrating small victories, I guess I often feel like a lot of joy when I overcome, like when I get feedback and I overcome a problem that someone's highlighted. I feel for me that's quite like a small victory to celebrate. I'm still trying to get feedback on like my short story manuscript that I'm working on now, and it can be quite frustrating because you appreciate people might not always want to read your work, but it's really hard trying to find strangers to review your work. But recently, also very recently, through a website that I'm using called Writers and Artists, which is a really good website, that I've been using to try and get feedback on my work. I actually met someone through online, and they were looking for a writing partner, like someone to brainstorm with, share ideas with, because they were in a bit of a writer's slump. And in return, because I was trying to help them, in return they read one of my pieces of writing on there. And this person is a complete stranger, doesn't know me, I don't know them, and they gave me like really positive feedback about my narrator's voice, and saying it was like really unique, they'd never read anything like it, and it was just like a really natural voice that they found. It really engaged them, and they also gave me like a criticism just to like help me improve that piece of writing. And so that was really, it was really nice. It like really boosted my confidence, because this was a complete stranger. So obviously sometimes when you get friends to review their works, they're going to be biased unless you tell them to be brutally honest. But even if you say that, your friends and family are more likely, they want to be supportive, so sometimes they'll try to protect your feelings, whereas it's really good to share your work with a complete stranger, because they have no obligation to you, they have no like loyalty or friendship with you. But yeah, so that was really, really nice.
Right, crew. Who do you communicate with or not communicate with whilst writing?
I don't think I really communicate with anyone when I'm writing. I kind of hole myself away in my room and just like communicate with my characters. So if that counts, I communicate with my characters in a totally non-creepy way. I don't know, I guess sometimes I like to update, like, my family or friends on how I'm doing with my writing, and, you know, I kind of give them, like, say, oh, and sometimes with my mum, bless her, I'll share pieces of my writing to see if this sounds right, because that's sometimes the hardest thing when you're writing alone. After a while you kind of reach that stage where you can't read your work anymore, and you go like word blind, you can't even notice all these different mistakes, and you just kind of, you reach a point where you're like, I can't look at this work anymore, and then you start doubting yourself, and you don't know if a sentence sounds right or not. So yeah, but usually I just write alone, and I just don't communicate with anyone because it'll be another distraction.
Write secret. What's your writing secret to success or biggest writing flaw?
I don't think there is a secret to writing success. I think you just have to have a passion and drive and motivation for writing. So I guess in a way you do have to be quite self-disciplined, and you have to love it, because if you don't love writing, you're not going to write, because you could spend your time differently. And probably one of my biggest writer's flaws is definitely my doubt in myself. Like, I don't always have very good belief. Well, I vary, because a part of me does, I'm like really proud of what I create, and I am passionate about it, but sometimes I go through periods where I really doubt my writing, and it makes me doubt myself, and I can be quite negative with my writing. But my other biggest writing flaw is probably, although I am starting to get better, or I'm hoping that I'm starting to get better, where I have quite a lyrical narrative voice. Long sentences. Long sentences are probably one of my biggest writing flaws, because I love description, and sometimes I can over-describe things, so I need to like learn to rein that back in.
Write inspiration. What makes you productive?
Well, I think I talked about this in like a previous video as well. Inspiration for me personally, it can come from anywhere. But I also really enjoy every now and again watching on YouTube like motivational videos. I find those type of videos to be really inspiring, although I've noticed there's not many writing ones, which is quite a shame. But with horse riding, I like watching a lot of those types of ones, and like motivational speeches, that's it. I really like motivational speeches and motivational quotes and writers' quotes. There's loads of them on the internet, so that's another big distraction, looking up writing quotes.
Write peeve. What's one thing writers do or you do that's annoying?
This is quite an interesting one, because I think other writers, although we're all different, even though we all have like similar passions, I think other writers understand other writers. Like, although we're all different and we probably have all our own different habits and different things we do, I think there's always that kind of understanding. Like if you're lucky to meet someone who has the same passion as you just kind of instantly get a connection. Like, you understand what each other are going through, like with writer's block and everything. And to an outsider, you probably seem like a really odd type of person. And that reminded me of, like, in one of the other videos I mentioned that random girl at college who was kind of like, you write? It's like at night time, it's like, you write? And it's like, yeah, I write at night. So what? It's what I enjoy to do. So I guess anything a writer would do would be a pet peeve to someone. Like, I don't know, I guess I don't really share my ideas with other people. Sometimes I do, like recently when it's been my first week back at work this week, and I spoke to one of the volunteers, a lovely lady who comes in to volunteer, and we get along quite well, and I was telling her about my novel idea and everything, and I was talking to her about NaNoWriMo, but obviously where she's like an adult, she probably she's much more open-minded I guess sometimes peers or people around your own age group, they don't always get it. So, yeah, I'm not really sure on that question.
Write words. Share something you've written.
And I just realised I haven't got anything with me at the moment. I'm probably going to have to pause this and try and find something to share with you. So, one moment. Okay, I think to share something I've written, rather than load up my laptop, I was going to share like a verse that I've memorised from my poem that's getting published on the 31st of May in that anthology, but I thought it'd be better to like kind of wait and then share that in a different video. But I've just opened up my journal, one of my writing journals, and I'm going to share with you really quickly. This is completely random. This isn't actually a piece of writing that I formed yet, so ignore the structure if it sounds weird, but I'll read you the two quotes I have, and I think it was going to be like a poem, but I'm not sure. It's just something random I found, and I remember it came from looking at a clock tower that I can see from my house. Okay, so I'll just read what I've got. So the first quote I have is, "Life is cruel. Opportunities are like gold dust." And then this is the other quote I have. What I would give to be an illuminated clock face, whose only task to govern gloomy souls by counting down the minutes till their minds can switch off. And then there's this little extra added bit, but I don't know if this was just like an internal thought that I was writing down, or if it was meant to be a piece of the writing, but I'll just read it out anyway. "All except for those gifted with an inextinguishable passion to craft." Yeah, I think it was linked to that bit, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tag. Feel free to have a go if you want to have a go, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.